fixed Facebook. Facebook is the first one to take our shit. Looks like I'm getting some warnings, but I think we're about to go on. Are you hacking up along, right?
I know, isn't that great? We're getting warned. We're getting a lot of warnings.
Yeah, it's telling me offline.
Oh, no, we're live. This thing just, we're live.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't see that we are, but...
my Facebook thing says we're live.
I'm going to just check YouTube to double check. Yeah, it says we're live now on YouTube. So, okay, I'm assuming we're good on the networks. So
we're gonna try to leave the chat up like through the show, right? We'll
yeah,
check it
for sure. So let's go on to you, man. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Ooh, shotgun. Oh, overtoked on my pen. Excuse me. It's Tuesday. It's 9:30. We are roasty toasty up here on a fabulous Tuesday night. Me in the Northern California. My cohort, Nye Warburton, in the So California. And we are here with Very Dad Ideas. Another installment because you, the viewers, demanded it. Why? Because technically there really aren't any of you. But there's two of us, and we're doing a show tonight. So try that on for size. We're going to talk to you about the problems we have when Autobots attack us for no apparent reason. Hey, fella. Hey, little guy.
And welcome to the show. It is Tuesday night at 9:30. Welcome to Very Dad Ideas. Darren, tonight is episode 34? 34, that's right. And tonight we're going to be talking about kids indoor
35,
play.
episode 35.
Episode 35.
Dude.
We had our 9/11 episode last week, and this week we're doing kids indoor play spaces.
Never forget kids indoors play spaces.
Because this past Saturday, I had to take my kid to a indoor play space for a birthday party.
Oh my God! This wasn't your first one, right, Nye? This wasn't your first one.
Not my first birthday party, but certainly my first birthday party at a kid indoor play space.
Okay, all right. So again, your kid is sort of in the 3 range, right?
In the 3 range. That's
yeah,
correct.
you're moving into the sweet spot here for the next couple of years. These places are going to be around for you for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, little fireworks. Folks, we know you demand high budget stuff, and that's why we deliver fireworks for you, the at-home audience.
So D, before so if anybody out there has any questions you want to contribute on PlaySpaces or whatever, please chat with us by leaving a comment on any of the networks, and we'll see it. And then when we see it, we'll see if we can incorporate it into our conversation.
Yeah, if you want to just like write down like a terrible experience or a wonderful experience.
A wonderful experience. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be terrible. I just know that it will be.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah.
So let's go first to do Dad Vice.
Quick like lightning. Came right in there. Come on, Mike.
All right, so this week on Dad Vice, we've decided to take questions in. So this question comes in.
Well, those on-the-fly shots, yeah.
From my wife, Lisa. So it says the invite says no presents.
Right.
But then you show up and everyone has a present. What's the correct protocol here, Darren? So Darren, I'm going to throw that to you. What do you do on that?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, Nye, because there is sort of a thing that me and my wife are trying to do, which is we are often the card that says no presents.
Yeah.
And we've done that for, I think, Luke's 4th and 5th.
And the people show up with presents, though?
Yeah, a lot of the times. Most of the time, people show up with presents.
So,
and the
but
thing is that we don't actually want more shit.
Right.
Like that's our bottom line, is that we don't need like we know that like to get everybody who your kid knows like a little garbage present, it's redundant to say then you have to pay a garbage price, but I mean you're getting things that nobody wants.
Yeah.
You wind up spending like what, 10, 15? When
Yeah,
do you cut the
but
mark off?
let me give this to you.
Yeah.
So we had this party. The father and the kid came to Griffin's party, and they brought a present. It was
Okay.
a great. It was a book. It was a great present, right? And then there was another party of somebody. They said don't bring any presents, but they had also given a present to Griff before. So these are two parties of people who had already given us presents that then said don't bring presents.
Right.
So we didn't bring presents, but then I show up at this party and there's like a whole stack of presents, like dinosaurs and the kid is opening presents or whatever and has the card.
He's opening presents at the fucking party?
At the party, yeah.
Oh, I feel like these are people who like wrote it but didn't mean it. Like, as if they're the kind of people who did you guys write no presents on your card?
This is the point.
You have to put no presents. You have to put no presents on the card. We've done it, and like we still get presents, but we get less presents. I think the thing is that if people are gonna write that shit down, like we as Americans need to sit down and all agree that no means no, right?
Right.
We have a big problem with no means no in this country. Like no means no. If you put no presents, don't bring me presents.
Right.
I'm saying I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that at this house, if we write it down, please don't bring a fucking present. Like we don't need any more garbage. We have like a mountain of plastic toys that these kids ignore every day.
Right. Right.
They don't care about them. They want like the wooden spoons and the things that like you and I want to have. They want our phones and they want our tech. They don't give a shit about these little pieces of plastic.
So I mean, I guess what you're saying is that if people say don't bring presents, don't bring presents, because if they didn't put that on the invite, then they don't actually want presents to come in, right? I mean, that's
it's too much. It's too much to do it any other way.
Yeah.
There's too much guesswork. There's too many different ways. There's too many different ways. Missed manners in the South that always mean, you can read like there's like 6 different answers to that. Like if you live in London, if you live in the South, like there's things that it actually does mean. I think you just have to take it at face value and be like, fine, no fucking presents.
Right.
And then it's like, when we're talking about you got to be on the plane and your kid's got to be the one crying.
Yeah.
You have to stand by your decision and be like, I'm fucking glad I didn't buy this. Like I didn't buy like some knuckle present where like you go to Target and spend like $12 on a piece of garbage.
Right. So that's our dad advice for this week, which is if the invite says don't bring presents, don't bring presents. Fucking presents. Don't be that parent that makes everyone else feel like a jackass.
Yeah.
Well, that firmly dovetails into my past experience and goes into our main segment tonight, which is about indoor play spaces. So
yeah, man.
I'll kick this off by saying
the indooriest of PlayStations.
We went to Kids Town. That's KIDZ town.
Yeah.
Yes, right. With the backwards C. That's like a kid.
That's how you know it's fun. That's how you know it's fun,
right? Yeah. So we go to this place, and I was like, well, how big can an indoor playground be? But this was like a fucking warehouse, man, and it was.
Where was it?
It's a few blocks other side of Long Beach. It was in kind of close to a mall. It was like a shopping mall that had like a Target and a Trader Joe's and various things in it. But then there was a big area that was Kids Town, and you go inside and of course there is like a ball pit area, and then there's a track area, and then there is a big hamster area where you can like let your kid roll through, and
in those big like inflatable in those big inflatable balls that like you get inside of and then you roll around.
No, there weren't any of those. There weren't any of those. It was more little. You know how like a hamster cage has those big yellow tubes or whatever, and so there was like this big.
Oh yeah, no, okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen
complex
this.
That
a maze,
space,
a fucking maze.
It had the space that was big enough for your kid to go in, but the adults couldn't go in, and it said no adults in here. So these kids would go in, and they would all just like dozens and dozens of kids, and you would see 6-year-olds that were like juggernaut going through, and just running, and you're just paranoid because you can
Just
see
like arms are sticking through the holes, and you're like,
and you can see your kid up there, like, you know, for a split second, I see a tuft of blonde hair go by. I'm like, Griff, you know, and then, like, you know, you're terrified that like some kid is knocking him over as he's like bowling through the alleys of these places.
To get at him, like if you had to tear everything down to get at him, it'd just be so much work, right? Yeah, I know the feeling.
I did go inside for a little bit. Of course, you know, there was a kid sitting there that smelled
absolutely no room for you. There's somebody who's pooped on themselves.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. There was a kid there who was just sitting, and it was just like whiffs of like, oh, this kid needs to be changed and whatever. So the experience was super fun for Griff. Enormously stressful. Enormously stressful for me.
Yeah, so, like real heart stress, right? You're like,
right.
So, yeah.
So I thought that we would like bounce a couple of times back and forth on what a couple of things about our thoughts on indoor play spaces. I've got a couple of them that, and so I'll let you.
Would you like to lead off? No, I'll lead off.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so I would like to just point out that this is not a new thing. This is technology that has just gotten better and better, and more specialized. In our day, I think there was really only Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese's. Like for the indoor play, those two corporations eventually merged. You know, depending on where you are in the country, a Showbiz is a Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. And it used to be video games. It used to largely be just like arcade video games.
Yeah, it was pizza and video games, right?
Pizza and arcade video games and pitchers of soda that sort of morphed into animatronic robots singing songs that are terrible and really frightening.
Right.
And a ball pit.
Ball pits.
And then, you know, like, and then I think there became more and more little sort of physical things. And now you can go, there's lots of places, I'm sure you can think of one or two, where you go and it's all trampolines. Or there's one that we go to where it's all bouncy houses, where you go in and it's like, one is one room and there's like 3 different bouncy houses, a couple of video games, and, you know, like a couple of other things. And then, you know, you sort of go through 2 rooms and then you're in a room where you eat cake and then you have to get the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Because they're just running parents through and groups through all the time. But one of the things that my kid did is we went to one of these things, and in one of the rooms with all the bouncy houses, they had a couple of video games, like a little dance thing. And then they also had the claw, right?
Oh, right.
Like where you put the quarter in and it moves the arm around and grabs.
Sure. Right.
Well, on Luke's first attempt on the claw, he won like the puppy. Like this, like a, you know, a big
pulled it
puppy.
right up, and
pulled it right up, popped it right in the thing, got a puppy.
That's amazing.
This is what he thinks happens with the claw
every time. Now he wants to do it.
I gave him, I know, every time for a long for that, like I would indulge it and we would drop $1 or whatever it is, because it's not like a quarter. It's like you really want a lot of your money, because nobody fucking plays these things anymore. The only people who don't know about it is Luke, and every other time since he's lost.
Yeah.
And I've tried to sit him down many a different time and been like, look,
this is a scam, dude.
I am 44 years old.
Right.
I have played the claw more times than I care to admit.
Right.
Never gotten anything.
Doesn't matter. They got their claws.
You got it one time.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, but so I don't know. We go to this fucking thing. It's supposed to be a birthday party, and my kid is crying. He's so upset, and I'm just like, wow. You know, you really can't win for losing sometimes. You like go all the way to a place where it's like you're going to be jumping around and having a blast, and then you're going to have pizza and cake and the claw.
Yeah.
Even after winning the claw.
Yeah. Well, the point that I wanted to make, actually, which was very interesting, was that when you first walk into this, I don't know if this is in any of the places that you've just described, but you have to go and you do waivers, and you have to fill in on the computer.
First thing you do.
Right. So you come in and there's a line, and the kid sees everything in front of them that they want to go. So you have to wait in line, and already they're just like, Dad, I want to go. And you have to fill out a thing. So this particular one was manned by high school students, or they couldn't, maybe they were college students. I don't know. But the point is that
they all starting to look a little bit alike.
I'm a little bit old now, right? But the point is that you've got these kids that are managing the waiver, and you have to have a A bracelet.
Yes, you do.
And the funny story that I want to say is after we were leaving.
And socks.
And socks, right? You have to do socks. And the funny story that I want to bring up is that when we were leaving at the end, we took our shoes off in the little shoe area, and there was a little Asian kid and an Asian father. I mean, they were 100% American, but they looked, Asian descendant. And
Right.
they obviously, this father was this kid's father. And they took the shoes off and they ripped off their little armbands and they threw them out. And so as we got to the door, a high school kid was like, "Can you show us your armband?" And the father was like, "Oh, I've already thrown it out or whatever." "Well, we can't let you leave with the kid in the armband." He's like, "This is my kid. This is my kid. Just like get me out." And the kid's like crying or whatever. And so the father grabbed the trash can and just like dumped out the contents to the kid.
Oh my God!
And it was like all this.
They're
going
gonna
on.
keep his kid.
And I saw some girl off the side, and I went up with my band, and I said, "I have my band, and this is my kid, and we're getting the fuck out of here right now." So, so I was able to skirt that, but the whole incident of like
Oh my
crowd
God.
control going in and out of the play space was pretty interesting.
Or just the amount of terrible dads who'd be like, you won't let me leave with a kid if I don't have the band on my wrist.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was. Pretty
What are
fun.
you guys gonna do? You just gonna keep the kid here until what?
So, Darren, let me ask you this: have you been to a birthday party at one of these play spaces? What is the proper protocol to be like watching your kid, but then also having a conversation with somebody else who is watching their kid and chasing after their kid?
This dovetails perfectly into my story of when I lost my kid when he was in these fucking rabbit hutch maze fucking things that are made for smaller bodies to be,
Right.
running around.
So you lost? Was this Luke?
Oh my God! Yeah, I totally lost Luke, and I was chit chatting with other dads who are all desperately trying not to look as if they're losing sight of their children,
Right.
and everyone's trying to be mildly social, but you have to sort of be on it because, not because you have to, but because I've never been in one of these things. Like I couldn't even if my dad was alive, I couldn't call him and be like, "What am I supposed to do at one of these things? This is a fucking new thing,
This
man.
is all new thing, and no one knows
it's
what they're
all
doing.
new,
And they're all chasing
and
their kids.
None of it gives you any confidence, like knowing that it's all run by high school students. I'm not trying to bag on high school students or something like that, but a lot of this shit is like up, like sort of high, and like and there's like webbing and netting, and like there's all of these different ways that I'm just seeing people's necks getting squished in my head all over the place because everyone's like all trying to go through the one thing. You know how kids act when like there's one toy that everybody wants.
Yeah.
So, what's that like when parents can't see what they're doing? I don't know. So like, and like that, yeah, people get overwhelmed in those places and they, wander off in a corner and poop themselves. And some of them and it's not just the parents. We're not just the only ones wandering ourselves. Some are kids. But, I don't know. I had like a terrible time at one of these. I was like looking around for Luke, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't find him. And like at some point when I finally do find him, he's like, I was looking for you. But they have the music pumping, they've got lights, they've got like
there's also different rooms, right? You can be having pizza and cake, or you can be over in the ball pit, or you can be whatever. The thing that Griff got really obsessed with was they had the air cannons. There was a ball pit, and then around the ball pit were air cannons where little fuzzy balls were being shot. So he just camped out and was like dropping, air cannon balls. My only problem with that is that there were older kids that were, aggressively shooting stuff, and here's my 3-year-old wanting to be part of it.
I know.
It's a high level of stress for
it really just tacks on. You're just
really
like you sort of leave there, and you're like, we have to get that.
Get the hell out, and then you have to interact enough with the family that's throwing the party to have cake, and then get the hell out of there. It's
sort of. Everybody's sort of clued in. Like everyone's trying to have like nice chit chats and stuff like that. But it's fucking hard. It's hard to like chit chat and then also, you're just like, my kid better not be at the front door. Like somehow he's got to be on this side.
Yeah.
Because if he gets past me, I'm the last line of defense, and he's not there in the park.
Right. So if anyone has anything they want to say in future watching of this episode, or if you listen to the
Yeah.
podcast or whatever,
If you have a
feel free to
word,
leave a comment on this feed on any of the and spark up a conversation, and hopefully we've helped you work your way through.
if there's
kids.
an adjective that you want to use to describe your life in
Hellish.
in one of these bouncy houses of holy hell, please leave a comment.
All right, that's our first segment. So Darren, let's call up your friend here. And,
Tubby Vader.
We're gonna come back and we're gonna try something new. Instead of a live draw tonight, we're gonna get a little digital on our design. We're gonna make our own kid into a play space here for the Very Dad Ideas. But in the meantime, you're gonna listen to some Jen Remington, and we're gonna take a short break, and we will be right back.
Jen Remington, go! Yeah.
Okay, well, great. That was, as always, the very lovely Jen Cass Remington.
Now, where can you find her if you were to be on the?
So if you want to go to the internets or the interwebs, you can go to heydog, HEYDOGG.com, and you can find all about Jen, her music, and her creative explorations. We love her, and we want to patronize her.
Yes. Go. Click there.
That's the good kind of patronize, not like the bad.
Yeah, no, not just like, wow, I went to your site. It was awesome.
So, Darren, in lieu of a live draw, I thought I would try an experiment.
We have something new for you guys tonight. This is not something we always break out. I was going to do brand now.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a little something else.
I thought we would design our own play space in I don't know if this works. There we go. So this is a 3D package called Maya that I do an awful lot of my work on a day-to-day basis with, and I thought we could start with a 3D room and start designing our own play space. So
if anybody's out there and you want to, like, if there's something you want to see,
yeah,
and you want in on this, give us a little lines of text.
Give us some thoughts on where you want to go. But, yeah. So I'm going to just start.
It's going to be our child's play space, right?
Our child's play space. So I'm going to start sketching out what I saw on Saturday, which was, if you can see, this is the wireframe of where we're at. So this is the big hangar of the area that I went. And so the entrance to the whole place was like here.
Okay.
And you can see this. You know, and then as you enter your space, you have to do all of your what's it called? Your waiver. I promised not to sue anybody in this area.
Yeah.
And then
well, I mean, we are a litigious society. That's going to have a reputation in our playground.
And this was the area here that they had cake and pizza and ice cream.
Okay.
And then over here On the other side, there was a track, and it was surrounded by a little pin that had it was about this big, something like this. So if I go and see this shaded, you can see a room that we enter here.
Yeah.
And then this is a room that where the pizza and the cake was, and then this is the track. And then in the middle of the whole thing was the ball pit. This is the ball pit in the middle, and then over here was our
Dude, look at you flying around on this thing.
yeah, but this is kind of what I do generally, when I work for a living, which is how do you figure out something like this? So here's the look of my play space that I interacted with. This is actually a little area right here that they had a fence around it for toddlers. They said you had to be 36 months and over. Yeah. So my life was a matter of coming in here, checking in, going in and meeting the family over here, and then ball pit, hamster area,
wheel, okay,
and then this was the track that everyone had little big wheels and stuff that they went around. And
okay.
This was all in a sort of a big hangar area on the north
like
part
sort of half a warehouse or something.
Well, it was just north of the Long Beach airport, so I mean, there's a lot of big kind of warehousey area things on that particular point. So,
right on.
So for ours, is there anything that you think that we should add here for?
Yeah. I think you're gonna need. I would need sort of an area where you can play your guitar. As a kid, you need like a guitar area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do that. Well, let me just take this to box.
You need a place where you can shred. You gotta. Like it's not just for playing. I mean, you're gonna need to be able.
Let's extend.
Kick out some hot licks.
Right. So let's have a big playground area. This is really weird to talk and think and do this. Usually it's a very
I bet this has got.
It's like my brain's like,
yeah. You don't say anything for a long time, and you're just sort of morphing boxes and sort of.
Well, you can do lots of different things. I mean, also you can move animated characters and different cameras. So, for example, just to kind of talk a little bit about the software for a second, you can take a camera here and create a camera. And move it in space. So if you look at it, this is a camera in 3D space.
Okay.
And if you look through this camera, you'll see that
it's seeing its POV.
It's seeing its POV, right? So
we're gonna need that camera right in there with the guitar. That needs to be in there.
in the guitar.
They can watch the shredding.
Yeah. So this is where we are right here. And then, of course, with this camera, you can change the 27 millimeter or 35 or 45 or whatever. So this allows you to, in my line of work, to be able to sketch things out and to throw cameras around very, very quickly to be able to define stuff. So, so this is our shred area, Darren. So
this is good. This is good. I also feel like you're gonna need, since it's you've got guitars in there, you're gonna need.
How about a big, massive sign that lights up that says "Abandon all hope, all parents who enter here"?
Yeah. For there shall be no booze for you. Yeah. Because they won't. It's sort of a contentious thing. A lot of people were trying to have kids' birthday parties at wineries in Alameda.
Were they really? Get out of
here. There's this winery on the base that 2 or 3 years ago used to just kind of let people bring their kids to it, and you just sort of drank, and the kids ran around on the base. Yeah. And then all of the people who don't have kids were like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So that sort of lost its ability, but for a while, I just feel like. If you're going to have booze at a kid's birthday party, it should be at your house and you probably shouldn't invite people. You should probably just get drunk in front of your kids. But it's just too fucking hard. Like, I know that there's always like somebody who wants to have beer or whatever, but
Right.
yeah, like everybody else who's not the kid's birthday is like driving in from somewhere.
Yes.
You know, and it's usually not like close. I don't know.
Yeah, and
It
it's
just
also
never
it's
is.
funny how like they want to be cool. They're like, hey, we're gonna do mimosas, or we're gonna do champagne, or we're gonna do whatever.
Margaritas. We're gonna do mimosas.
Yeah,
I'm
right,
like,
and
"Nah,
you're like-
fuck your mimosas, dude. I don't need one more place where I can get drunk.
It's
Just
it's
for
an
a second.
interesting art form to go to a birthday party, have to watch your 3-year-old hold your 1-year-old, have a
Drink a beer.
drink a beer, and then maintain a
Drive
conversation.
the car. Make sure your kid eats. Make
Yeah.
sure, yeah, the kid, the 1-year-old. It's bullshit. It's
Man.
bullshit, and like that's just some shit that.
But you are by far the expert of the two of us now. You're paving the way far more. You've had more birthday parties under your belt. You've now had years of experience on this. Right?
And now it's useless information because you don't use it anymore. You become an expert in things, and then you just instantly cast them off, and just yell at your children about it 15 years later because they bug you. And all you can see is like them when you couldn't find them in the ball pit when they were 3. It's ridiculous. This is I keep coming back to this. Is my sort of touchstone for the show. Is that this is why we die. You get old. These kinds of things, like,
right.
You know, you're just like, oh my god. Like, I brought my kid an hour away from our home to like bring him to the Jurassic video game parlor, and you know, like there's, you know, big dinosaurs, and there's also like a mini tramp, and there's like a maze over here, and I can't find him.
Yeah.
I could have just abandoned him at the house, and then I wouldn't have had to drive all the way out here to do it.
So far, I wouldn't have to buckle him in or whatever.
I got to go get a beer. Yeah.
Well, let's. This is our second segment where we did. This is, if anything,
Dude,
it's just an interesting experiment. Maybe we'll come back to 3D.
Can we put the sign on the side of the? Or can we actually?
Well,
put text,
we can, but I mean, this is going to be for me to actually get a shader and put the texture on it and whatever. It'll be a little bit more, but for now, you know, this is our first venture into 3D, into Very Dad Ideas. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe I should just go back into Photoshop when we go
Fuck
back.
that, dude. This was great. You know what? People at Very Dad Ideas, you were here first. You saw it first.
You saw
Your
3D
first
happen
season.
for real. Okay, well, let's
Can
take
we get some fireworks? Can I have some fireworks? Can we talk about some fireworks, please?
Oh, we can. Let's do some fireworks.
There you go. There you go. You got 3D and you got fireworks. What else could you possibly want?
Yeah, we bring it to
Yeah.
Very Dad Ideas. All right,
Spare
well,
no
let's
expense.
let's do a little Jen. We're gonna take another break. We're gonna come back for our final segment where we're gonna do some recommendations, and
we are.
We'll be right back. All right, see you soon. Okay, cool. All right, welcome back. So this is our final act.
Folks, you were watching Kids Indoor PlaySpaces. If you're far into the program and you hadn't heard the hilarity beforehand, just press a little rewind because this is the third part of the show.
This is the third part, right?
This is where we
if
sort of
anyone
break
has
down
any
the
comments about indoor play spaces and how to survive, I think we've covered it nicely. D, before we get into recommendations, let's do our meta show real quick.
Yeah.
Um, so you can find us at Very Dad Ideas, verydadideas.com. The guy over there is Darren Jennings. Find him at darrenjennings.net. My name is Nye. You can find me at nyewarburton.com. All of our music is done by the very talented Jen Remington, where you can find her at heydog, HEYDOG.com. Having trouble tonight, D.
Hey.
You can find our complete archive, except for the last 2 shows, which I haven't put up yet, on YouTube and Buzzsprout. Right? I guess this wine is working.
YouTube is the Miami Vice.
YouTube, Crockett and YouTube. verydadideas.buzzsprout.com, our complete archive. We go live every week at 9:30, or at least we try to. We have pretty much consistently.
We're pretty live at 9:30. Like
and
more.
Find us on Facebook Live, which is actually now working a lot better since we fixed
thank you, Facebook Live.
YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter, and then of course Twitch, which I just fixed to start archiving all of our shows. So if you go to Twitch, you can actually start watching our archive. The show is made from a variety of Adobe products. We use OBS Studio to stream. We use Restream.io to stream the networks. Voice Meter Banana for voice. And then Darren and I use Discord to chat. Yeah. So, cool. Great. So, D, for this part now we do recommendations. Do you have anything that you want to bring this week? Or?
Yeah, it's sort of I think going to be a 2-parter here, but my recommendation is Solo.
Yeah,
dude, I saw the movie.
Who was the guy who told you it was us?
And who was just like, I'm not. I sort of had my thing with it. I don't know if it was just watching movies all the time, just like fatigue from watching movies, but
also Star Wars.
I did not see Solo in
the crap. The one before, the Star Wars before, was sort of like, right?
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, right?
Sort of a bummer. It was sort of a bummer, but I enjoyed it. Like
I enjoyed it, but yeah. And
I mean, it was definitely a stark. It was probably the most stark.
But Star Wars didn't you go after? Why didn't you actively pursue Solo? Were you just not,
we're sort of in the same space, you and I, when we have little kids at home. Like I knew that I wanted to see Infinity Wars. I was just excited about it, and I was less excited about this. I don't really think there's what went wrong. And I've said this before, and I say it again. Disney, you got to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry if like not every single one of these movies makes just a billion fucking. I'm sorry. Like, you guys do have all of the movies now, and you just release them every month or every couple of weeks, and you just have to relax. You have to give us a little bit of time.
Yeah.
No,
I thought
we'll make up for it.
I thought it was fantastic, and maybe Darren, next week we can go into a deep dive in this movie, because I think
we might have to do a deep dive on Solo.
Yeah, I think it's something that we should both, because I really enjoyed it quite a bit, and I thought it was great, and I think there's all kinds of analysis that you can do from, as a movie making standpoint, it was well done, but also it touched on a bunch of things, and I mean, Donald Glover is amazing. I mean, there's all kinds of things for us to talk about here. So
I tell you what, right now, I would see a movie called Lando. And I've said this before, is that like I knew just from going into it that I wanted to see what he was going to do. I thought it was great. I thought they killed off Thandie Newton just way too early. And I'm not going to say too much more, because we got a whole show on this.
If we got a whole show on this, I'm going to argue against that, because I feel like that was a great move on their part for a lot of reasons. But yeah, great recommendation, of course. Solo, I thought that was a great movie. My recommendation is a book, actually, that I've been reading. I know, believe it or not, people still read books. My mom actually recommended it. It was Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. And the funny thing is that being born in South Africa, a black mother and a white father, that technically really is a crime. And it's basically a series of, let me find a good picture. It's a series of vignettes where he talks specifically about racism in South Africa and how different things and how the government controlled. And it's a really interesting book, because not only is it clever and funny and Trevor Noah is just an absolute genius. He is really shining a mirror on racism, using South Africa, but really reflecting on the United States in a lot of ways. And so I feel like if you kind of want to have a sense of some of the things that are dealing in our modern society in a regular basis, and just a great storyteller and a really funny storyteller, this is a book that I've been tearing through. So I highly recommend Trevor Noah's Born a Crime.
Right on.
Have you watched any of his Daily Show stuff?
I have. I stopped watching the Daily Show a long time. I remember watching it in college religiously, and then
you see Craig Kilborn on the Daily
well,
Show?
Craig Kilborn originally started the Daily Show, right?
Right. Yeah.
Craig Kilborn with my, he had his 3 questions or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jon Stewart rolled in and had it for a long time.
Right.
And I did not watch. I don't think I watched the Daily Show much past like 9/11. I remember that day, and I know I watched like sort of like less and less after that.
Yeah.
Just because, I've always had night jobs, and that show primarily up until recently, when you can just watch everything whenever.
Yeah.
It was just sort of on at the one time.
Well, the funny thing is that I remember, watching in college and then watching afterwards. I watched the Daily Show fairly regularly, while Jon Stewart was doing it. But then I started to fall off towards the end, and then when Trevor Noah took over, I don't think I've ever really watched Comedy Central in the last few years.
Well,
I feel
or just
I'm
watched a channel,
I feel like exactly. I feel like I'm getting it in bits and pieces on YouTube, or I'm getting it on Facebook shares or whatever. Or he does a great bit, and then you see it on Twitter.
Yeah.
You're not actually just sitting and watching a Daily Show. You're
hell no.
You're just watching him do his bits.
Or like HBO's guy who that guy did Jon Stewart. Yeah, fuck. I mean, he's awesome too.
John Oliver.
Yeah, John Oliver's hysterical. He does He does it on the weekly.
Yeah, I've watched.
Michelle Wolf did like a weekly for 10 episodes on Netflix. It got canceled, but
Do you think this is the end of the comedian political commentary? I guess maybe it was just the end of shows.
No, I think it's sort of what you sort of half said is that like it's just the end of that long format. I think they'll still do the format, but they're going to plummet for the bits that they're going to put on YouTube. You got to have the show to plumb the bits, and I think, maybe like the viewership is different. Like you get the whole, like you won't have it on the channel. You'll be able to pull the show down from the site or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that if you're a comedian and you're trying to launch a show like John Oliver's or Trevor Noah's or anybody really, like you really are designing the system to be, hey, here's a bit that I'm going to be chopping up and then putting onto the networks, because it really is about pulling in views via Facebook or YouTube or Snap.
You've seen all of them sort of go to it. Jimmy Fallon and the other guy from the other Tonight Show, like they all sort of have intros and outros to all their bits on YouTube, where they're trying to get you to subscribe and stuff like that. So I definitely think all of them have thought that, but to go back to the original thing, I think Trevor Noah is fucking brilliant. I don't know that they could have. It's not the same Daily Show. I think he's funnier in a way that Jon Stewart, like he brings that like South African thing, like you said, he's like born under, like Jon Stewart wasn't, different kind of problems for that guy. Trevor Noah brings like a new, like scarier, almost more present, but I mean, he's racial attunement.
Exactly, racial attunement. Like, and he came from a culture where he was firmly aware of what was going on.
Yeah, from the get-go.
Right, from the get-go, and now he's been brought into the United States under the Trump
world. It's like
quieter
racism. Well, actually, the Trump thing is not quieter.
No, I think it's I think there's a lot of similarities that he's calling attention to, and so it's I don't know. Anyways, I highly recommend it. So that was Darren. That was episode 35. We're gonna do fire.
There you go, folks.
Just to do that. We will be back here again next week at 9:30, where it sounds like we're going to do a solo episode.
I think we're gonna have to talk a little bit about Solo and how the sequel needs to be called Lando.
Do you think they're? Yeah. Well, we'll find out if we think there's going to be a sequel or what we think about the show or whatever. And if you've got something you want to say, please leave a comment below. We read all the comments, and subscribe to our podcast or subscribe to us on any of the networks, and then come join us again live Tuesday nights at 9:30 right here.
Yep.
So thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. All right. Take care.
Goodbye. See you later.